Hello and welcome back everyone to this new series on Python. This series of videos will help you take your skills from beginner to expert level in Python. Do not forget to hit the red subscribe button and the bell icon so that you are the first one to know whenever I upload any new video. In today's session, we will see different control flow statements that we have in Python. When we write some programs and we need to take some decisions, like if the first condition is true, then return the first output, and if the second condition is true, then return the second output. In this case, control flow statements are used. Now, without wasting any time, let's jump to Jupyter Notebook and get started. In the last session, we discussed that there are two control flow statements in Python. First is if else, and the second is loops, which includes both for loop and while loop. And we discussed if else control flow statement in detail in the last session. If there is anyone who has not watched that tutorial, then I would suggest you to watch that video first. You will find the link of video on the top right corner, and I have also added the link of video in the description below. In today's session, we will be discussing loops, and we will be discussing in detail both the for loop and the while loop. So let's come to a new cell. Let me first show you the syntax of while loop. Syntax for while loop. While loop will print the results till the conditions are true, and as soon as the condition is false, the code will come out of the while loop. We write while condition colon, press enter, then line 1, line 2, and so on till line n. In case of while loop, we have to make sure to give at least one line that will make the condition given in the while loop false, so that the code comes out of the while loop. Otherwise, the code will continue to run for infinite number of times. Let me explain you this with an example. Let me add a new cell, press shift plus enter, and this will give us error as the condition is not given in the proper syntax. Here I will write down n equal to 1. So here I am defining a variable n and assigning value 1 to it. Press shift plus enter. Let's see what value is stored in the variable n. Press shift plus enter. So here we can see that value 1 is stored in variable n. Now let's start the while loop. While n less than 11 colon print n. So here what we are saying is till the value stored in variable n is less than 11, then we want to print the value of variable n. So here you will see that value 1 is stored in variable n, which is less than 11. So if we run this code, then while loop will continue to run infinite number of times, because 1 which is stored in variable n will always be less than 11. So here we will have to give a statement that will make this condition as false. So here I will write down n equal to n plus 1. So here I am incrementing the value which is stored in variable n by 1. Let's press shift plus enter and see what output we get. So now you will observe that first while loop is checking if the value of variable n is less than 11. So currently value 1 was stored in the variable n which is less than 11. So incremented the value of n by 1, which is 2, and then printed the value which is stored in variable n, that comes out to be 2. And the next time value 2 will be fed to this variable, and incrementing it 1 will give us 3. So this loop will run till value of n is less than 11. In the second last iteration, we have 10 assigned to this variable n, and 10 is less than 11, so we got the last value as 11. Now let me check the value that is stored in variable n. Press shift plus enter. So now value 11 is stored in variable n, and in this case this condition is false because 11 is not less than 11, it is equal to 11. In that case the code was able to come out of this while loop. Let's see another example. Let me define a variable x equal to 1. Press shift plus enter. Now let me copy paste the code from here, and here I will replace it with variable x. Now let's see what difference we get if we add this line after print x. And here, once the code comes out of this while loop, I want to print that the code ran successfully. Press shift plus enter. So here you will observe that value 1 is stored in variable x. So first of all, in this condition the value of x was compared with 11, so 1 is less than 11, and then the code printed the value of variable x, which is 1. Then it incremented the value of variable x, which is 1, by 1. That gives x equal to 2. Now again the value of variable x, which has 2 stored in it now, was compared with 11. This condition is true, so in that case first the value of variable x will be printed, that is 2. Then again the value of x was incremented by 1. Now the value of x becomes 3. Then again 3 was compared with 11, and so on till the value of x was 10. When the value of x was 10, here this condition was true, so value of x was printed, which is 10. Then the value of variable x, which stores 10, was incremented by 1, and now the value of x is 11. So here the condition was false because 11 is not less than 11, it is equal to 11. Then the code came out of this while loop and printed this statement that the code ran successfully. This might sound confusing for someone who is seeing this while loop for the first time, but if you will watch this video again, then it will make more sense. Let's see what difference we will see if we write this print statement inside this while loop. So first of all, add a new cell above, and we can define a new variable, say y equal to 2. Press shift plus enter. Now here I will replace x with y. Now let me run this cell. Press shift plus enter. So here you will see that first the value 2 was stored in variable y. This condition proved to be true as 2 is less than 11. So first 2 was printed, then the value of 2 was incremented by 1, which makes y equal to 3. And then here we have also mentioned print code ran successfully inside the while loop. So each time this condition is true, we will also see that this statement will be printed each time this while loop runs. we have to make sure to give the condition properly, whether we want these condition to be inside a while loop or outside a while loop. So while loop will execute the set of statements as long as certain condition is true. Once this condition is false, then the code will come out of the while loop. Now let's discuss the second type of loop, which is for loop. The syntax of for loop is for I in range within brackets, write down 1 comma 10 colon, press enter, line 1, press enter, line 2, and so on till line n. So this is the syntax of for loop. Now before understanding for loop, let's understand what is this range function. Press shift plus enter to come to a new cell. Now range function is basically used to range function is used to generate a list of numbers. The syntax for range function is range within brackets start comma end comma step. So in range function we will first give the start number from which we have to start, then we have to give the end number till where we have to go, and lastly the step size, which will tell by what number we need to increment. One important point to make here is, suppose I have given this range 1 till 10. So here by default the step size is 1. Even if you don't mention this 1, then by default it will be considered that you are telling Python to increment this range function by 1. So here the starting number is 1 and the end number is 10. So this function will print numbers starting from 1 till 10 minus 1, that is 9. Now let's see both for loop and this range function with an example. Press shift plus enter to come to a new cell. Here write down for I in range 1 comma 10 colon. We just want to print these numbers, so write down print within brackets I, press shift plus enter. So here we are basically printing the values that are stored in variable I. Here we have numbers printed starting from 1 till 10 minus 1, that is 9. We can give range function in this way also. Let me show you. So here if I just mention range 10, let's see what output we get. Press shift plus enter. So here we are getting the output starting from 0 till 9. So here if we are not giving anything in the start, then Python assumes that we want the numbers to be printed starting from 0 till 10 minus 1, that is numbers we have from 0 till 9. This for loop will basically iterate over this range function. Variable I will take each value from the range function starting from 0, and all these values will be printed here. First this for loop will assign value 0 to variable I and 0 will be printed here. Then the next value is 1. So for loop will print the next value of variable I, which is 1, and so on till 10 minus 1, that is 9. Now let's see what happens if we give increment here. Now I want the numbers to be printed starting from 1 till 20 and increment by 2. So I want everyone to pause here and guess what output we will get here. So press shift plus enter. Here first the for loop assigned value 1 to variable I and printed the value of I, which is 1. Then it incremented the value of 1 by 2, as we have given the step size as 2, which comes out to be 3, and this loop will go on till 20 minus 1, which is 19. Now using for loop we can print tables of any numbers. Suppose I want to print the tables of 5. So here the start will be 1 and I want tables to be printed till 10. So here I will give the end value as 11 and the increment as 1. Even if we don't mention, then by default it will consider the step size as 1. And here what I want to do is I want the table of 5. So 5 multiply by value of variable I. Let's see what output we get. So first the for loop assigned value 1 to the variable I, then 5 multiplied by 1 is 5, then value 1 was incremented by 1 as the step size by default here is 1. This comes out to be 2. So 5 multiplied by 2 gives us 10, and this table will run till we have the value of I as 10. So 5 multiplied by 10 gives us 50. Let's see one more example where we can combine if else with for loop. So what I want to do is I want to print the numbers starting from 1 till 11 minus 1, that is 10, if the number divided by 2 gives us 0 as the remainder. So here we will write down if I percentage sign 2 equal to 0, then we want to print the value of variable I. First let's run this cell, then I will explain you colon the syntax of this. We want to print the value of I only if the remainder is 0, if the variable is divided by 2. Press shift plus enter. So what we are doing here is using this range function we are assigning value 1 till 10 to this variable I, and then what we are checking here is if the number divided by 2 gives us 0 as the remainder, then only we want to print the numbers. Make sure that this print should come inside this if block. So now we know that when value of 2 is divided by 2, then we will get the remainder as 0. So first 2 is printed here, then all the even numbers will be printed starting from range 1 till 11 minus 1, that is 10. In this case what we are doing is we are printing the even numbers. Now suppose similarly I want to print the odd numbers. In case of odd numbers, when we divide a odd number by 2, then we get remainder as 1. Now press shift plus enter. So similarly now we are getting the odd numbers starting from range 1 till 11 minus 1, and make sure that here you are giving double equal to sign, because as we discussed in the previous video, to check for equality we have to use double equal to sign. So these are few basic examples of how to use for and while loop in Python. In the upcoming videos, you will see more use cases of for and while loop, where we will use for loop to iterate over different data structures like list, tuple, set, and dictionaries. I suggest everyone to keep practicing these concepts that we are discussing in these videos. So this was all that I had to cover in this session. I hope this session was helpful. Do not forget to click on the thumbs up button if you like this session. See you in the next tutorial.